It's nice to be here with y'all. Thank you for coming to your practice. Please find a comfortable seat, whatever that might mean to you. So actually the more I do yoga, the more props I like to use. And so I used to just sort of sit up on a little thin blanket. Now I like to sit up on blocks and get as much height as possible. So whatever you'd like to find in order to create some additional support under the hips so that you can breathe some length into the spine, please do that. And that can just be a pillow or anything. What that helps us do is take some of the rounding out of the low back. So often when we sit straight on the ground, there's like this slumping forward action that happens. So place whatever you'd like underneath your hips and then locate your sits bones, or the technical term is the ischial tuberosity, and it's those two bony points at the base of your pelvis. And imagine that those are your feet here and you're standing up on them. So balance out the way through the base of your pelvis. Stand up on those two little bony points at the base of your pelvis and let that create some more length and lift in the spine. Then broaden your collarbones and release your hands on your thighs or your knees, wherever feels most comfortable to you. And we'll start with just a little bit of inner reflection before we get moving. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. You can also do this with the eyes open. But I find that eyes closed creates a really sweet invitation to be with our sensations more fully. One of the things that fascinates me the most about yoga and why I feel like this life and this experience of living can never get boring is because yoga starts to wake us up in so many different ways. And one way is that it's constantly asking us to pay close attention to everything that we are feeling, breathing, sensing, thinking. Every texture, every color, every nuance, we are paying attention. Rather than what for many of us can tend to be the norm, which is that we maybe sort of dull our senses, or we ignore things, or we distract ourselves. So I invite you, with either a soft gaze or the eyes closed, just to start sensing into any physical sensations that you feel in the body. So maybe there's areas of warmth or coolness. Maybe areas of buzzing or tingling, or maybe like a little bit of discomfort. And any areas of emotional sensation that you feel, maybe there's a sleepiness or an anxiety or a excitement. And I invite you, whatever you start to notice that bubbles up to the surface, to hold space for it, to let the container of your observation be large enough to include that thing. And if there is some thing that you look at it and you're like, I really wish that wasn't there, maybe that bit of discomfort, or maybe this emotion, or maybe this recurring thought, you might say to yourself very, very gently, this too belongs. This too belongs. And it doesn't mean we have to like the thing, and it doesn't mean we become complacent and stop working or growing or adjusting. But it means that we do those things from a space of honest recognition. rather than from a space of denial or resistance. And so in this way, we create a container that is large enough for not only our suffering, but also our joy. And this is true for the suffering and the joy of others as well. We'll begin our practice with the sound of Om together 3 times. I invite you to bring your palms together in prayer at the center of your heart and to feel your own touch, to feel the texture of your hands, to feel where there is connection and where there is space. And to honor this metaphor for leaning into yourself, for examining yourself and how you move through the world. It's like little things that we don't pay attention to, like what do my hands feel like? Think about that, feel it. We'll take a deep, full breath into the body through the nose. And a cleansing breath out through the mouth or through the nose, whatever feels best to you. And then inhale for the sound of Om. Take a deep inhale breath. And then rinse yourself out with an exhale. Really feel yourself flushed through with breath. Interlace your fingers. Flip your palms out and away from you. Feel free to open your eyes. Continue to root down through your sits bones and then inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. Magnetize your elbows towards one another, and as you root your sits bones down, feel a lift up through the palms of your hands, through the heels of your hands. Soften your low ribs back and soften your jaw. And keep breathing. Maybe you draw your upper arm bones back in space a little bit. So we do this same thing in our asana practice, this movement practice, is that you'll hear me or any of your teachers sort of direct your attention to various parts of the body. So we're never just isolating on one thing. There's always an invitation to be super inclusive with our awareness, with our attention, with who and what we are taking into our field of consciousness. Re-magnetize your elbows, draw your arm bones a little bit further back, soften your low ribs, and then inhale, reach up even higher. Take another deep, full breath in. And then as you exhale, gently release your arms forward and down. Remove whatever it is that you're sitting on, and we're gonna come into child's pose for just a moment. So you can take your knees wide and bring your big toes to touch and send your hips back towards your heels just to breathe for a few moments. We're gonna work a lot on the hips today, so typically I don't start a lot of classes with child's pose because we wanna get the energy moving. And it can also be a really sweet way to, again, continue this process of taking inventory. So with your big toes touching and your knees wide, let your heart descend towards the earth, and then stretch your hips and your fingertips in opposite directions. And maybe tune in a little bit more deeply to the sensation of your breath. If you practice Ujjayi breath, you might start to feel that little bit of a hug in the back of your throat. And again, stay aware, see what you can feel. See what you can sense into. Maybe there's an impatience to get moving. Maybe there's like, oh, I hope we stay here a really, really long time. Just notice it all. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. And as you inhale, press your palms down and pull them towards you in order to glide your shoulders forward over your wrists. Bring your knees to stack beneath your hips and find tabletop pose. Take a moment to really connect to the palms of your hands. So stretch like your palms are made of canvas. Stretch from your index knuckle mound to your pinky finger mound. And then from the base of your outer wrist all the way to the base of your thumb. And then claw your finger pads into the floor so that the length of your fingers lifts up a little bit. Spiral your biceps a little bit forward, and as you inhale, glide your sits bones up towards the sky, melt your heart, gaze forward, cow pose. Hang out here for a moment, magnetizing the back of your head and your tailbone like you're trying to get them to touch. And start to scoop your sits bones down towards the backs of your knees. Pull your belly button up towards your low back, round through your heart and drop your head, cat pose. And pause here, magnetizing your pubic bone and your forehead. Really release your neck. See what you find here, no need to rush. And as you inhale, glide back forward into cow pose, and from here, give yourself a little bit of organic movement, so let it be unscripted. You might wag your tail from side to side, you might just continue with cat and cow, you might go back to child's pose, you might make some circles with your ribs. This is what I call spinal scribbles. So it's like you're scribbling, like you just are, you grabbed a pen and a notebook and you're on a call and you're just scribbling and doodling, and there's no need to create an outcome or a particular shape. You're just, again, sensing and feeling in a really complete way. And as you take your last couple of breaths here, make sure that you feel even wherever evenness is being asked for. Come back to center, tuck your toes, and glide your hips up and back. Find downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Get really stable here, so press your palms down, keep spreading your fingers and spreading the canvas of your palms. Magnetize your forearms to the midline. Feel how this broadens your collarbones, and lift your biceps up towards the sky, just a little bit. Reach the tips of your ears towards your thumbs, and then as you press down through your arms, reach long through your side bodies, lift your hips up high. Bring awareness to your feet. Lift and spread your toes, feel the inner arches of your feet engage. And keep your big toe mounds rooted as you draw your outer hips a little bit back. Take a deep full breath in here. And a complete breath out. Inhale, lift up high onto the balls of your feet, squeeze your thighs. Pull your pubic bone towards your sternum until you round forward to a rounded high plank. Then as you exhale, lower your knees to the floor. Take a little micro bend in your elbows, toes remain tucked, and sink your hips towards the floor for this like kind of funky cobra. Opening up the fronts of the hips here. Take a deep breath in, pull your the heels of your hands towards your toes. Then as you exhale, press up, rounded high plank. And then glide back downward, facing dog. Again, inhale, forward plank pose. Puff up through the back of your heart. Exhale, sink your knees down. Take a little micro bend in your elbows, melt your hips towards the floor, shine your heart forward, pull your whole shoulder girdle back in space. Take a deep full breath in, and a deep breath out. Press through your toes and your hands. Inhale, rounded high plank. Puff up through the back of your heart. And then exhale, downward facing dog. One more time, a little bit different. Inhale, high up onto the balls of the feet. Charge your thighs, scoop your pubic bone forward, rounded high plank. Exhale, melt both knees to the floor. Again, toes remain tucked. Take a little micro bend in your elbows to engage your biceps and then melt your hips towards the floor. This time, with toes tucked under, pick your knees up. Lift from the inner thighs. Engage your thighs. And as you pull your upper arm bones back, reach your heart forward and lift through the roof of your mouth. Take a deep, full breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Lift your thighs away from the floor and then exhale. Round up to a high plank. And then glide back, downward facing dog. Begin a slow walk forward with your feet to meet your hands again. Let yourself stay sensitive to every step. So rather than rushing through it, be fascinated by everything. Let yourself get really into the intricacies of every movement. And when you eventually reach the top of your mat, find a forward fold. Take your feet at least hip width apart, maybe even a teensy bit wider. Again, continue to engage the inner arches of the feet and maybe take a little bend in your knees as you drape over your legs and let it be a little bit chill. Feel into your breath. Deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Inhale, halfway lift, come up onto fingertips or bring hands to shins. Widen your inner thighs back and reach your brain forward. Then as you exhale, step your left leg back and find a low lunge. You can use blocks or come up onto fingertips on either side of your right foot. Take a deep breath in here. And then as you exhale, sink your left knee to the floor or to a towel or a cushion, untuck your left toes, walk your hands up onto your right thigh. Magnetize your feet towards one another, puff your heart up towards the sky, and you can create that action by pressing down through your right heel and pressing your hands into your right leg. And then create and keep all of that lift in the heart as you maybe drop the hips a little bit more forward. So you're bending more deeply into that right knee. And just let whatever comes, come, so don't force it. See what is there. And whatever is there, it too belongs. Deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Inhale, ease out of your right knee. So press the right foot down and away from you to lift out of that knee. Release your hands to the floor. Then walk your hands to the top of your yoga mat. So out in front of your right foot and a little bit wider. Pivot your toes to face towards your right wrist. So your right toes are at a 45-degree angle, and then come onto the outer blade of your right foot. So you're leaning onto the pinky toe side of your right foot. Yes, 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 you guys got it. Come up onto fingertips and magnetize your fingers and your thumbs towards one another. So like you're creating this little suction, like I think of those things in the shower. That's what your hands are doing. Tuck your left toes under and pick up your left knee. Imagine that there's like a buoyant beach ball underneath your left thigh and a sandbag on your right thigh that's weighing it down. And then lengthen your heart forward as you reach back through your left heel. So it's sort of like a pigeon pose meets a lunge. Pull your feet towards one another, and again, just notice where you're feeling things. Notice where maybe there's a resistance or a shutting down, and see if you can bring a little bit more attention, a little bit more breath there. And as you inhale, point your right toes forward, point your right knee forward, land the sole of your right foot. Inhale, step left foot to meet right, halfway lift. And exhale again, fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, right foot back this time, low lunge, left foot forward. Fingertips or blocks on either side of the left foot. Charge your right thigh and pull your feet towards one another to level out the hips. Keep that activation of the legs as you lower your right knee down. Untuck your right toes and bring your hands up to your front thigh. As the feet and the legs pull towards one another, press your palms into your left thigh and lift your heart. So again, tendency is to shrink and shorten in the front body throughout our typical day. So we want to create the opposite here. Focus on that first, and then if there's a little bit of space, maybe melt the pelvis a little bit more forwards and down. So you're coming more deeply into a bend in the left knee. Press your left foot down and away from you to ease out of the left knee and release your fingertips back to the floor or your blocks. And then take your hands towards the front two corners of your yoga mat. Pivot your left toes towards your left thumb and then roll to the outer edge of your left foot. If this causes any discomfort in the knee, you can keep the foot more grounded. Then tuck your right toes under, pick up your right knee, and pull your feet towards one another. So again, there's some lift in the right outer hip as your left thigh begins to descend down. Keep that strength in the fingers, so keep suctioning your forefingers towards your thumbs. And then glide your heart a little bit more forward. Breathe and feel. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good, pivot your left toes to center, ground the whole sole of your left foot. Inhale, step your right foot forward, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Press into your feet, inhale, rise, reach your arms up and overhead. And then exhale, hands into prayer. Then release fingertips down. Tadasana, mountain pose. Is the music okay, you guys? Is it too loud or does it sound okay? Okay, awesome. Thank you. So we'll flow, Surya Namaskar A, follow your breath. As you inhale, reach both arms up and overhead, gush your heart up towards the sky, and then exhale, take a forward fold, Uttanasana. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, step or hop back and lower down, Chaturanga Dandasana, keeping the elbows in close. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, one. Inhale. Exhale, two. Inhale. Exhale, soften knees, gaze forward. Inhale, step, walk, or lightly hop the feet to meet the hands. Lift up halfway. Exhale and fold. Press into your feet, inhale, rise, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands into prayer. Inhale, arms up and overhead, maybe arch back slightly. Exhale, dive forward, Uttanasana. Halfway lift, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step or float back, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, glide back, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, one. Inhale. Exhale, two. Inhale. Exhale, soften knees, gaze forward. Inhale, step, walk, or lightly hop the feet to meet the hands, halfway lift. Exhale and fold into yourself. Press down through your feet, ride an inhale breath all the way up to standing, reach the fingertips to the sky. Exhale, hands into prayer. One more of these. Inhale, scoop your heart up, reach up the arms. Exhale, dive forward, Uttanasana. Elongate on an inhale. Exhale, step or float back, Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Downward facing dog. Really reach long through your arms and your legs like you're planting yourself into the earth. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, soften knees, gaze forward. Inhale, step, walk or hop the feet, the hands, halfway lift. Exhale and bow. Press into your feet, inhale, rise, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands into prayer. Surya Namaskar B, Sun Salutation B. Inhale, drop seat, lift arms, Utkatasana. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana, straighten both legs. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, step or float, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward by right thumb, rise, warrior 1. As you exhale, release hands down to the floor. Step your right foot back. Feel free to stay here in plank to build strength or again to lower. If you lowered, inhale to your back bend. Exhale, we all meet down dog. Inhale, left foot forward by left thumb, rise, warrior 1. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back, stay here or lower. If you lowered, inhale to your back bend, cobra or up dog. Exhale, we all press back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And then open the mouth and release out with sound. Dig more deeply into every little crevice of yourself. And so we mean the physical body here, but we mean everything else too. This is the same for our collective body, our whole. We sometimes see a group of people and we identify them only with their suffering, perhaps. Then we miss out on their joy or the things that can be celebrated. Make space for it all. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, soften knees, gaze forward. Inhale, step or hop the feet to meet the hands, halfway lift. Exhale and bow. Press down, drop your seat. Inhale, reach the arms up, Utkatasana. Exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. Good, again, inhale, drop seat, lift arms, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, step or hop back, lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, place your right foot forward by your right thumb and rise, warrior 1. As you exhale, open shoulders and hips, warrior 2. Inhale, straighten your right leg. Exhale, reach right fingertips forward and then release your right hand down, left arm to the sky, triangle pose. Trikonasana, feel free to use a block here. Seal the inner edge of your right foot to the floor and then spiral your right rib cage to the left. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale. Exhale, 5. Press through your feet. Ride an inhale breath all the way back up. Exhale, sink into your right knee, warrior 2. Inhale, reverse warrior, left hand to left thigh. Sweep your right arm up and overhead. Stay here, exhale. Inhale, come back up to center. And then exhale, windmill the arms down as you pivot up onto the ball of your left foot. Inhale, step back to plank pose. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Other side, inhale, left foot by left thumb. Rise, warrior one. Exhale, open, shoulders and hips, warrior two. Inhale, elongate your left leg. Exhale, draw your left fingertips forward. Then release your left hand down, shin, ankle, or a block right arm to the sky. Press down through your left big toe mound. Outer rotate your left thigh bone and then spiral your whole torso up. Inhale. Exhale, one, triangle pose. Inhale. Exhale, two. Inhale. Exhale, three. Inhale. Exhale, four. Inhale. Exhale, five. Charge your feet into the earth. Inhale to rise. Lift your torso. Exhale, bend the left knee. Peaceful warrior. Inhale, right hand to right thigh. Left arm up and overhead. Exhale, bend a little bit more deeply into your left knee. Inhale fully. And exhale. Inhale, come back to warrior two. Exhale, circle your arms down and at the same time pivot up onto the ball of your right foot. Step back to plank pose and as you exhale, lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, one. Inhale. Exhale, two. Inhale. Exhale, three. Slight bend in the knees, gaze towards your thumbs. Inhale, step or float the feet. So with the hands, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, drop seat. Lift arms, Utkatasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Mountain pose. So good. Separate your feet hip width apart. Lift and spread your toes. And then land them back down with space between them. So you're, again, stretching the soles of your feet really wide. As you inhale, pick your left knee up in towards your chest and flex your left toes towards your left knee. Then cross your left ankle over the top of your right thigh. Bring your hands into prayer and start to sit your hips down towards the floor. One-legged chair pose, Ekapada Utkatasana. Keep flexing the left toes back towards the left knee. You shouldn't be able to see the sole of your left foot. So the inner ankle should be smooth here rather than the foot being sickled up towards you. Feel free to stay here with hands in prayer or to bring your forearms to your left shin bone. Broaden your hips back behind you and feel your right foot do its quivering and its thinking. And elongate through the front of your heart and through the roof of your mouth. Take a deep breath in. The lower you sink here, the more you'll get into sensations of that left outer hip. Inhale. Exhale. Stay here or inhale. Extend your arms straight out in front of you. Maybe broaden your hips back in space a little bit more. Good breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Press into your right foot. Inhale. Reach the arms up as you pull your left knee in towards your chest. Then as you exhale, extend your left toes back behind you. Reach your arms along your sides. Warrior three, Virabhadrasana 3. Spread your left toes, charge your left thigh. Draw your navel up and scoop your right sits bones down towards your right heel. 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Lower your left outer hip. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Release your fingertips to the floor. Take an inhale breath to elongate from left toes out through the crown of your head. Then as you exhale, bend your left knee and place your left knee to the outside edge of your right foot and sit all the way down. The left knee to the outside edge of the right foot and sit down. So your right knee is bent and your right foot is crossed over your left thigh. If that feels impossible or just not good, you can extend your left leg out in front of you and have just the right foot crossed over the left leg. Ardha Matsyendrasana, seated spinal twist, right fingertips behind you, inhale, left arm to the sky. Exhale and twist. You can hold, like hug your right leg or hook your left elbow to your outer right thigh. Magnetize your left outer hip and your right shoulder and gaze to the back of your mat. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, revolve back to center. And then exhale, take a gentle counter twist over to the left. Inhale, face forward once again. And then stack your shins for fire log pose, Agni Stambhasana. So right shin bone will just slide on top of left. And knees and ankles stack. And depending on how your hips are, maybe this right knee feels super high. Mine feels quite high today. So you could even support it with a block if that helps it feel a little bit more grounded. And then same thing here, root out through your big toe mounds and flex your toes back towards your knees. Tug your fingertips into the floor, inhale, lift your heart. And then you can decide if you stay here or start to walk your fingertips a little bit more forward. Maybe like we did in our one-legged chair pose, bring your forearms to your shin bone and hands into prayer and just breathe and feel. And I don't think they call this fire log pose for no reason. So maybe there's like a whole lot of sensation just sort of coursing through you. Notice your reaction to that sensation. See if you can create and hold space for whatever is occurring on so many levels right now. Take one more full breath in and a full breath out. And inhale, start to rise if you came forward and lean back onto your hands. We're gonna extend our legs. So pick up your legs and slide your right ankle down your left leg until your ankles are crossed and lift it up out in front of you. Yes. So right ankle on top. You can stay supported on your fingertips or float your arms forward for Navasana boat pose. And keep pressing your heart up towards your toes. Take a deep breath in. And deep breath out. And deep breath in. And deep breath out. Inhale fully, and as you exhale, lower to the half boat. So shoulders and heels come to hover. Take a deep breath in, and a deep breath out. And then from here, we're gonna rock our boat. So start to rock forwards and backwards a few times, keeping the body nice and taut. And don't worry about how it looks or how it should be. Just kind of do what the body wants. And then the next time that you rock forward, bend your knees, ground your feet, ankles are still crossed. Reach forward through your knees and inhale. Rise all the way up to seated, standing. Arms up to the sky, ankles still crossed. Exhale, fold immediately straight forward over both legs. Halfway lift, inhale. Shift weight into your right foot, exhale, step your left foot to the back of your mat. Find this low lunge. Again, walk your fingertips forward. Pivot your right toes to face towards your right thumb and slide onto the outer blade of your right foot like we did at the beginning of class. Pull your feet towards one another. And this time, maybe bend your elbows out to the sides and let your heart melt towards the instep of your right foot. Connect to your breath. Inhale fully. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, straighten the arms. If you folded, pivot your right toes back to center. Ground your right foot. Inhale, step your left foot forward, halfway lift. Then exhale, take a slight bend in your knees as you fold over your legs and feel. Then hands to hips, elbows to the sky. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release the arms, Tadasana. And just notice how your body feels from left to right hemisphere, from bottom to top, front and back. If there's been any shifting on any other level, just see it. It's not something to necessarily make a big deal out of. We're just watching. Then inhale, pick your right knee up, flex your right toes. Exhale, cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Hands come into prayer, start to sink your hips down. You can also use a wall or a chair for support. Take your time. Again, smooth out the inner edge of your right ankle. Press your right big toe mound away from you, and then option to keep hands in prayer or to lower your forearms to your right shin bone. Broaden your inner thighs back and wide behind you and elongate forward through your head. And then notice. Inhale. And exhale. Stay here, or this time inhale, reach your arms straight out in front of you. Broadening your butt back, reach forward through your fingertips. Just a little bit of a different sensation here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Press into your left foot. Inhale, rise, reach up through your arms and pull your right knee to the sky. Then as you exhale, begin to press through your right toes behind you and shift your heart forward. Warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. Spread your right toes and spiral your right inner thigh to the sky so your right pinky toe points towards the earth. Then draw your low belly up and scoop your left glutes towards your left heel, just a little bit. 3 breaths, inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Release fingertips to the floor. Take a bend in both knees and then lower your right knee to your outer left foot and sit down. Right knee to outer left foot, sit both hips to the floor. Option to extend your right leg out in front of you. Left foot is crossed over your right thigh. Fingertips behind you. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. Then exhale, either hug this left leg or hook your elbow. And then revolve to the back of your mat, keeping your right outer hip drawing back a little bit. So these sequences where we do a lot of poses on one leg or a lot of hip openers, these are the most intense for me personally. There's always like a lot of commentary in the mind, a lot of, I don't know, inner workings happening. And so we all have different little points of activation that engage us a little bit more. Inhale, come back to center, and then exhale, take a counter rotation to the other side. Inhale, come back to center, and then again slide your shins to stack on one another for Agni Sambhasana, fire log pose. And then continue to press out through your big toe mounds and anchor your fingertips to the floor to lift your heart. Take a few breaths here to feel. Again, your right leg could be straight here and just your left knee bent, if that feels better on your knee. And then option to walk the fingertips forward, or again to bring your forearms to your front shin bone, palms together. And what happens is those things that activate us more, we have more stories around them and more beliefs and more resistances, and those become where it gets stickiest and progression feels slower, because we're like weeding and sorting through so much more than just, oh, I have tight hips, or oh, you know, this thing is going on. It becomes this whole list of experiences that are tangled together. And so the process of just watching and observing and letting it all be there is really informative, and we just see where there's more stickiness. Inhale to lift your heart. If you came forward, lean back on your hands. Lift both of your legs and then slide your left ankle down your right leg until your ankles are crossed and your feet are lifted. Feel free to stay here using your hands as support, or to reach your arms forward and up. You can also hold on to the backs of your thighs here to give your hip flexors a little bit of a break and to puff your heart up. Charge your thighs and breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale, lower to the half boat. So legs and shoulders come to hover. And stay committed to your breath, stay committed to the moment. Notice how when the moment is challenging, it's a lot easier to stay present. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, start to rock the boat forwards and backwards. And feel any heat, any warm sensations. Then the next time that you come forward, bend your knees, ground your feet, ankles still crossed. Reach your fingertips forward and maybe root down so much that you come all the way up to standing, left ankle crossed in front of right. I know that's tricky, awesome y'all. And then fold straight back forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, take your right leg back. Pivot your left toes to your left thumb, come to the outer edge of the left foot. Squeeze your right thigh, pull your feet towards one another, walk your hands forward. And then maybe this time bend your elbows out to the sides and drip your heart towards the instep of your left foot. Keep pulling your left toes back towards your left knee. Maybe there's an undulation. With every inhale you find length, and every exhale you fold once again. Then ground the sole of your left foot, walk your hands back, and this time press back. Downward facing dog. Sink both knees to the floor. Untuck your toes. Glide your hips back to your heels. Flip your palms up on your thighs and close your eyes. Just again to settle in and ground. Then shift your heels out to one side. Sit down on your butt and take your legs out to either direction. For Upavista Konasana, again, you can sit up on a blanket or some towels. Pull your toes back towards your knees and lift your heart up towards the sky as you root the backs of your legs into the earth. As you root the legs down, feel that this creates a reverberation up into the spine. Stay exactly as you are, or maybe take a really leisurely crawl forward with your fingertips. So you're folding forward a bit. But no need to rush and no need to come into the maximum expression of the shape quickly or ever. Sometimes it's more interesting to hang out in the spaces between. Keep your front body open, so rather than rounding or dropping the chin, think about reaching your butt back and your sternum to the top of your yoga mat. Then inhale, slowly walk your hands back and lift your heart. Bring your hands to your outer thighs and glide your legs back together. Cross your ankles, roll over your knees, and come to lie down on your front for Sphinx pose. So straight away up onto the forearms. Elbows underneath shoulders. Press your palms down. And we'll build this shape from the toes up, so press your toenails into your mat. And feel how this lifts your knees and charges your thighs. Just that one little action of pressing the toes down ripples all the way up through the legs and maybe even helps you engage your pelvic floor more. Then press your pubic bone down and notice that this turns on your glutes. You'll create a little bit more space in your low back. Press your forearms and your palms down to grow the crown of your head an inch higher. Then draw your whole shoulder girdle back in space. So you're hugging your upper arms back and pulling your heart forward through your biceps. Continue to lift the crown of your head even as you melt the base of your ribcage down. Reaffirm your connection through your feet. Just gaze straight forward. There's no need to crane the neck or do anything weird with the head. You can just look straight forward, maybe even press the back of the skull back in space a little bit. And then your choice, you can stay here, or you can really start to press down firmly through the palms until you lift your elbows up. Continue to spiral your biceps forward and roll your inner thighs to the sky. And then drag the heels of your hands back towards your hips so that you can arc your heart more forward. If this causes any compression in the low back, you can ease out of this or try using your glutes a little bit more. And maybe you walk the hands in just a little bit if that space is there and see if you can lift up a little bit higher. Take a deep breath in. Then as you exhale, maybe take the hands back out and super slow motion, release both forearms to the mat. Continue to breathe and feel. And then stack your hands, take your elbows out wide and release your forehead to the backs of your hands. Shimmy your hips from left to right. Roll over onto your back. Bend your knees, place your feet to the earth and take your feet a little bit wide so that your inner knees touch, and then take your arms out to a T or to a cactus shape. And really let your feet land heavily like they're made out of stone, like they're just dropping to the bottom of a pond. That's how your feet are to the earth. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little hug, maybe rock a little bit from left to right. Keep your knees wide. So more like you're hugging them in towards your armpits than right over your rib cage. happy baby pose. Reach for your big toes or the fronts of your shins or for the outer blades of your feet. Reach to a place where you can keep your sacrum connected to the floor. So shins is one of the easiest places so that your sacrum can land just as heavily as your feet did a moment ago. And then you can use your hands wrapped around your shin bones just to weigh your thighs towards the floor. And as you inhale, reach your legs and your arms up towards the sky. Give yourself some ankle and wrist circles. Spread your toes, spread your fingers. Just bring some movement into these joints. You can point and flex the feet or make figure eights or whatever feels good. And then gently release everything down to the floor and set yourself up for a really luxurious Shavasana where you completely are able to surrender and get heavy. Let the eyes close. And let every exhale have a little bit more of you. And as you rest again, just observe. Maybe there's little areas where you hold on to tension in the body. Common places where you store muscle energy. The more you can hand your body over to gravity, the more you'll find perhaps some release in those pockets. When you find a new little pocket of tension, approach it with sweetness rather than force. So maybe don't think, oh, this tension is bad and I have to solve it. More so like, oh, there's probably a story here. Can I honor that? Can I let there be space for that too? If you would like to remain in your Shavasana, then stay here. No need to do or change anything. If you are ready to transition back to the rest of your day, then start to invite deeper breaths into the lungs, as well as any little sparks of movement in the body that help you reawaken. Maybe even a deep full body stretch from toes to fingertips. And then as you're ready, bend the knees and roll to your right hand side. And slowly rise all the way up to a comfortable seated position. This process of coming from death pose into a fetal position and then sitting up, this is very much a representation of the continuous process of waking up. This process of starting to open our eyes and see and look in a different way. Bring your hands into prayer at the center of your heart, and we seal our practice with one final Om. Take a deep full breath in and a deep breath out. Inhale. Bow your chin in towards your chest, keeping the heart uplifted and the thinking mind humbled. And honor your effort here today. Congratulate yourself for making this time in your day. And we honor these teachings that have been passed down through so many generations, through so many teachers to bring us together here today. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you.